If you are looking to start a Google Ads campaign for lead generation, then you are in the right place. Today, I'm going to give you a step-by-step tutorial on how to set up your first Google Ads campaign. Now, this is going to be a longer video because I'm literally going to go step-by-step, explain each individual item, why you want to do this and why you don't want to do that, plus any things you need to be looking out for and be aware of. So I'm not going to go into the details of Google Ads and why they're good. Everyone knows Google Ads. And if for the right market, it makes a lot of sense to advertise on this platform. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Step number one is to go ahead and create that conversion event. So let's get into it. We do need to set up a conversion event, just like with Facebook ads, in order to probably track the results we are getting from our ads. So in order to do that, what you want to do is you want to head over to tools and settings in the upper right. Go ahead and click on that. And then right under the measurement column, you click on conversions, as you can see right here. So this account already has conversions, and you can make all types of conversion events: submit lead form, phone call, download, engagement. This is a little bit more advanced. You don't need to worry about this stuff. We're going to keep it simple in this one. And really for most people watching this, right, the submit lead form type of conversion event is what's going to make the most sense. So you want to create a new one, a brand new one for the first time, click on new conversion action just right there. And then you can choose the type of conversion event: website, app, phone calls, or you can import events like offline tracking and stuff like that. Again, if your business is able to take phone calls, this is a fine one to create. But if not, in this case, we want to do a website that includes online sales, links, page views, and signups. Then you're going to insert your domain. It's just going to analyze the URL, stuff like that, like it usually does. So go ahead and punch that in. Okay. Scan. Sure, yeah, because I don't have the www on there, so it's kind of freaking out on me. Then it's going to get to this. You want to click on add a conversion action manually. And so here we start setting it up. So the type of goal that this is, if you're doing sales, right, you can do purchase, add to carts, begin checkout, all that kind of stuff. But in the leads category, you want to scroll down and you can choose between things like contact, submit lead form, sign up, request quote, all that kind of stuff. So in this case, I'm going to go with submit lead form. I mean, you can obviously choose sign up or contact as well. Either one of those is fine. And then give it a name. I'm, in this case, going to give it just test because I want to make sure I actually just delete this afterwards. And then here we get down to the value. Use the same value for each conversion, use different values for each conversion, and then don't use a value. If you happen to know the value of each conversion, it's fine to go here and select this button right here. And so how do you calculate this? If you already have a calculation that for every 100 leads that come in, 3 end up buying, and they end up spending this much money, therefore every lead is worth $10, something like that, then you would label this as $10. But if you're just getting started, you're not going to have that type of data, so then I do not recommend you do this and just go with don't use a value for this conversion. I would say most people watching this, they're probably going to be very early on in their business and maybe don't have a conversion value, so that's what I would recommend right there. But again, if you do have a value, then that's totally fine. If you're doing something like e-commerce, then you are actually going to want to select this one here, different values for each conversion, because they can buy obviously different products. Then here, select how many conversions to count per click or interaction. So it says every, recommended for purchases because every purchase is valuable, or 1 recommended for leads, signups, and other conversions because only the first interaction is valuable. So for lead generation, you want to go with this one right here, because if someone for some reason submits the lead form like 10 times, it's going to count as 10 conversions. But obviously, that's going to skew your data. So we just want it to count as 1. If you're doing e-commerce and they purchase 10 products, then you do want every single product to show up as its own independent conversion, but we're focusing on lead generation here in this one. And then you have your attribution settings. I would leave these all the same. So basically what this is saying, for example, the click-through conversion window, if someone clicked on your ad 30 days ago, it'll still count that as a conversion. So if they click on your ad on the 1st of the month and then don't actually convert until the 28th of that month, it's still going to count that as a conversion. And I do like that because it tells me that, you know, it still eventually came from an ad. Now, if you feel like 30 days is too much, you can come here and modify that, all kind of stuff. And then same thing for the view through conversions. But I like to leave this all the same, including the attribution model, which is data driven. So then I go ahead and click on done and then save and continue. Now it comes time to set up the tag. So the tag comes in two parts. There's your global site tag, which goes on all of your pages. And then there's the conversion tag, which only goes on your thank you page. So the global tag is this one right here. You can click on setup. And then you want to click on install a tag, because that'll typically be the case that you're installing something new from scratch. And then you can install with a website builder or CMS. So if you have one of these plugins on WordPress or using Wix or Squarespace, you can do that. Or in most cases, as I've always done, I've always just installed it manually. So here it is. This is what you want to copy. So again, this is your global tag, which goes on all pages. So you would copy this. And in this example, right, I'm going over here to Convertri. Obviously, every single platform is going to be slightly different. So I'm not saying that this is how it's going to be for all of you, but just to give you at least one example, is that here is the page, and then I go to custom scripts, add page script. So I'm going to say this is the Google Ads global tag, run on page load. I want this to be in the head. And then I go ahead and paste that in, and then done, and then I publish. I'm gonna go, yeah, actually, let's go ahead and publish this. Actually, no, this is a demo page, so I'm not gonna publish. But then I would go ahead and do the exact same thing on the thank you page right here, right? I would just repeat that process all over again. So let's pretend I did that, but then I want to come back, and I'm not 100% done yet, because then I need to measure the conversions. And so by that, I need the event snippet. So here you click on that. This is strictly your conversion tag, which means it only goes on your thank you page. And then you can choose whether this happens on a page click or page load. I always do page load. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this, and I'm only going to put this in on the thank you page and nothing else. So I'm gonna do something very similar here. Custom scripts, add one, Google Ads conversion tag. Remember, this is going to be for the thank you page. It's going to be in addition to the global tag. So on the thank you page, you put both the global tag and the conversion tag. This is going to go in the head. Enter your code here, save, done. And then if this were a real page, I would go ahead and publish that right there. So that is how you create your conversion events and set up your tags inside of Google Ads. All right, now that we have created our conversion event, we can go ahead and create our campaign. So let's dive into that section. Alrighty, let's go ahead and build a campaign. So you're gonna log into your Google Ads interface. You're going to click on the campaigns tab right here, and then you're gonna click on this little plus button. Now, if this is your first time putting together a Google Ads campaign in your Google account, you're you're for sure going to see some prompts to build what they call a smart campaign. I do not recommend that. Just ignore all that, say no, and then move on over to a regular manual campaign that you can build together. So then you get there by going to the campaigns tab and then clicking the plus sign. So go ahead and click plus, new campaign. So here are all the options you get when it comes to building a new campaign. So in terms of what you're optimizing for: sales leads, website traffic, product and brand consideration, brand awareness, app promotion, local store visits, and create a campaign without any goals guidance. So I'm gonna be 100% honest. I've only ever used sales and leads. Those are the only two. The other ones, I personally, I mean, I just wouldn't use Google Ads for the purposes of brand awareness and stuff like that, or product and brand consideration. Now, obviously, if I was doing ads for a local business, this one would make sense, but I've never worked with local businesses before. And then you would use the website traffic one if you're promoting a blog post. But again, you know, to me, that's a very expensive way to promote a blog post. If you have tons of budget, sure, go ahead and do that and choose the website objective. But really, for all intents and purposes, for 99% of the campaigns that you build, you're going to use either the leads or the sales objective right there. And both of those are obviously very self-explanatory. Sales is when you want a purchase, and then leads if you want someone to opt into something and fill out a form. So in this case, I'm going to choose the leads objective. And here it's telling me here are the objectives that are already in your account. So I will show you in a separate video how to do that. But you know, for me, it's already filled out here. So I say, great, yes, these are the ones I want: phone call leads and submit lead forms. So then from there, I go ahead and click continue. And then you can choose what type of campaign you want right here. So search, performance max, display, shopping, video, discovery. So let's break these down one by one. Search is when you want to appear in the actual search results. So if someone goes to Google, they type in tennis running shoes, and you want to show for that search term in the search results, then you choose search right here. I'll skip performance max right now. I'll come back to that in a little bit. Display, those are the banners that you see on websites. So particularly this is very prominent on news websites. If you're scrolling along and you see those banners like on the right-hand side or often the left-hand side, that is what this campaign is for. So it's not going to be keyword search based. It's just going to be website based. You tell it what kind of websites you want to be showing up on, whether they're news sites, you know, business sites, science sites, you know, whatever it might be, you can go ahead and do that. Personally, I don't recommend display campaigns. I've tested them many times before, and while they do bring in a lot of leads, they are low quality, and I've just never seen them turn into sales. A shopping campaign, that is if you are e-commerce, and that also will show up in the search results. We saw that example in the first video when we were actually looking at a sample search result. So this obviously makes sense if you're doing e-commerce. Video, this is what you choose if you want to do YouTube ads, and I'll talk 100% about YouTube ads in a separate lesson. And then discovery, this is when you want to run display ads that show up on YouTube and Gmail, right? So they're not showing up on third-party websites, the display ads. They're display ads that are showing up on Google properties themselves. So that's what you choose. Again, I've tested before. I've never had much success, so I don't necessarily recommend it. Then there's Performance Max. Performance Max is a blend of all of these together, right? So you create one Performance Max campaign, and it's gonna allow you to show up in search, display, YouTube, discovery, all this kind of stuff. It's a good and interesting concept. It's a newer type of campaign that Google offers. However, I don't recommend it because I've tested it before, and 99% of your impressions are going to go to display because it's just going to push it to where it can find the most and cheapest leads, which is going to be on display. But again, those cheap leads, they're cheap in cost, but also cheap in quality. So hopefully, I think this would be great if one in the future they can allow you to exclude the display placement. But for now, I just don't recommend the Performance Max. So we're sticking with search right here. We're gonna go ahead and select that, and then select the ways you'd like to reach your goal. So in this case, website visits, phone calls. I actually won't put the phone calls in right now because I already I set up my phone call conversion event earlier, which again, I'll show you that in a separate video. You can put right here your URL. Oops, there we go. It's gonna analyze your website and give you some recommendations. You don't have to do this part. If we actually click on here, right, this tab helps customize your campaign setup to focus on settings and features that can help you get the customer actions that matter most to your business. You know, some of the suggestions it gives you are fine, but again, you can or cannot do this. I don't really feel too strong about it either way. Then here you give your campaign a name. So here's my recommended campaign structure. So then I start, in this case, I label it as S for search, right? Because it can be a search campaign, display campaign, YouTube campaign. But here I'm doing search. Then I do the country I am targeting. In this case, I'm going to do the US. And then I label it what types of keywords I'm putting in here. If you recall, I do recommend putting you know, your phrase and broad match keywords in one campaign, and then your exact match keywords in a separate campaign. So for my phrase and broad match, again, I actually rarely do broad match, but for my phrase and broad match, I call this my beta campaign, and then the exact match I call the alpha campaign. And then I'm going to label this as a test, but normally I would put something like, you know, we're talking about dog trainer search terms. So I would put probably something like dog trainer or stuff like that, but I'm labeling it as test, so I know I can come back and delete this afterwards. So then go ahead and click continue. And then what do you want to focus on? Conversions, and then a target cost per acquisition right here. So yes, I do want conversions, and then I do want, you know, I do have a target cost per acquisition in mind, but I don't recommend you doing this right out of the gates because you're not going to know what's a realistic target CPA for you when you don't have any data, right? I know for this account that actually $41 does make sense because I have tons of data in this account, but for your very first campaign, it just doesn't make sense to do that right there. So turn that off, and then I'm actually going to show you a separate step after the campaign is published on how to make sure that you're on what's called manual CPC, which is just manual bidding. So then I go ahead and click next. And so here it's going to give you a couple of other options. So you can appear on the search network, which includes Google's other search partners. So for example, you know, like I think Yahoo is one, you know, for the few people that still search on Yahoo is one of their search partners, Ask Jeeves, those types of things. If you want to appear on those other like really random small search engines, you can, and that's what you select right here. I don't find that to be necessary or anything like that, so I get rid of that. And then, as I said earlier, I don't like the display network, so I always uncheck that. So then you select your locations. Like I said earlier, in this case, I'm going to select the United States, but you can select specific cities and counties or states and stuff like that, right? So if I were to do enter another location, I can do, as you can see right here, example, a county, city, region, or postal code and stuff like that. So you can get very, very narrow, and that's totally fine, just like you can in Facebook. But in this case, I'm just going to do United States just like that. Then you select your languages. So here I'm sticking with English. Then next is the audience segments section. This is more advanced. So for your first campaign, there's nothing that you really need to do right here. What it's ultimately getting to is that once you have some other audiences right here, for example, like pet lovers, dog lovers, I could select that, and it'll try to cater to that a little bit more in addition to the search terms. So it's going to take in like two factors, not only the search term, but also this audience segment. If you're super curious, you can choose stuff right here and set it on observation mode, where it's not going to narrow the reach of your campaign with this option to adjust the bids and select the campaign. So like if you're just curious, like, hey, I want to see the data that comes through, but I don't want it to optimize or change anything based upon that, that's totally fine. Like I said, this is ultimately something that's a little bit more advanced, and so when you're first getting started, I don't really recommend it. Automatically created assets, you can allow Google to help you generate a headline description, etc., etc. Again, you can do that, but I like to leave it off because I like to create my own ads, simply because I don't know, they're just better that way. And then under more settings, there's nothing really you need to choose here unless you have a specific end date for your campaign, right? So that's kind of the main thing. But in terms of the ad rotation, prefer best performing ads, stuff like that. That's setting is fine. Ad schedule all day. And then if you're doing advanced tracking, you can do stuff here in the URL, but for most people, it's a little bit out of the scope for this tutorial. So then we click next. And so then we're going to put in our keywords. So as you remember earlier, we did give it the URL. So now it's putting in all these dog trainer search terms. But I already have my list of keywords that I want to put, so I'm going to delete that. So let me grab this from another screen. And so there we go, I'm gonna paste these in. So as you might recall or recognize, these are phrase match keywords because I'm using the quotation marks right here. If I was using the brackets, right, that would be the exact match search term right there. But like I did say earlier, I don't recommend mixing match types in the same campaign. Have everything be the same in terms of the match type. So these are all going to be phrase match, which as you recall, right, anything can become before or after, or even just the same phrase itself, you will be bidding on that. It's a good way to start. I don't necessarily recommend right out of the gate bid on exact match keywords. You can if you're like very confident that one exact match search term is going to perform well for you. But what I like to do, I like to go fishing, so to speak, with my phrase match because it's a broader match. So it's going to pull in a lot more search terms, and then I see what's actually converting. And then I turn those converting search terms into my exact match search terms. So that's how I like to do it. Here, it's going to give you some recommendations, such as add broad match. Again, I don't recommend that. Add more keywords. Again, that's totally fine as long as the keywords are similar. I don't recommend mixing dissimilar search terms. And then finally, here is where we get to put together the ad. So you put in your URL right here. It'll actually automatically populate that from what we gave earlier. And then lots of ad options, as you can see right here. So let's walk through them one by one. So first and foremost is the display path. I definitely do recommend filling this out. It's gonna make your URL right here bigger. And it doesn't have to be a real URL. So what I'm about to put in is dog training, oops, and then over here, certification, just like that, right? So you can see that it made my URL longer, right? That at first it was just animalbehaviorcollege.com. Now it's animalbehaviorcollege.com/dog training. And now if this was desktop, it would say dog training / certification as well. Phone calls, I already have the phone number placed at the account level. If you have not already done that, as you can see, it's appearing right here. You'll just have to manually add the number right there. And of course, only put this in if the business you're obviously running can take phone calls. If not, you can go ahead and skip that. And now it auto-populated some headlines here. I'm gonna get rid of these though, because I already have my own headlines. So the minimum is 3, as you can see right here. So I'm gonna do my first headline, how to become a dog trainer. And your maximum number of characters is 30, as you can see right there. I'm gonna do become a dog trainer online. And then I'll say dog trainer certification. So the first two ones, as you can see right here, they're very similar to the keywords, but there's only so many ways you can say become a dog trainer without becoming repetitive. So now I'm getting a little bit more loose, so to speak, in phrasing it as a dog trainer certification. But your first 2 or 3 should be as similar as possible, again, to your actual search terms. After that, you can put, because these are gonna be your top ones, the ones that are gonna show the most frequently. After that, you can put in like supportive headlines. So this will be something like unmatched student support, study from your own home, and then top ranked dog trainer school, stuff like that, right? So again, the first 2 to 3, make them as similar as possible to your keywords, and then after that, you can go ahead and put some more supportive headlines. So I recommend doing at least 8 to 10 headlines. You can do all the way up to 15, which is a lot and can be a little bit cumbersome. but do at least 8 to 10 like that. And then you put in your descriptions right here. You can put in a maximum of 4. I am going to get rid of these. A minimum of 2 is required. I already have 2 that I can give it right here. So let me just copy and paste these from another screen. There we go. Right. Maximum number of characters for these descriptions is 90 characters, as you can see right here. So now we can add all of the extra assets, and I do recommend doing that because, again, it's about dominating the real estate, making your ads pop, so on and so forth. So let me go ahead and add some images here. Add image, some of the dog. Here we go. Perfect. Apply. Business name. So the image, as you can see right here, if it shows it, will appear to the right of the ad. Business name, this will show above the ad if they choose to show it. So apply. Business logo, if they choose to show it, it's going to show up right here. So again, all these things, they're not going to show up 100% of the time, but when they do, they're just going to make your ad look a lot nicer and polished. And then site links. So again, those are the links that can appear beneath your ad and will take people to different parts of your website. So definitely choose these. I already have some uploaded in here. Excellent support, in-depth courses. Do a minimum of 4. You can have more than that, but definitely do a minimum of 4. And as you can see, when you create these, not only do you have the site link, but you can provide it a short description below hand, just like that. I already had these, but when you have to create new ones, you just click on this new site link button right there. Go ahead and apply. And then now you want to click on more asset types because there are some things right here. If you're running a promotion, then definitely go ahead and do that. But if not, then don't include that. Structured snippets. I am using account level structured snippets, but I do recommend doing this as well. If you're creating your first ones, just go ahead and click on structured snippets. It's very easy and straightforward. So here's the one that I already have right here for this account. You know, basic study of canines, learning theory, training fundamentals, basic obedience cues. So I'm listing out the curriculum of this right here. So that's the type of stuff that you want to say, right? Stuff that you can't fit in the headlines or the description, but just extra information that you want to know. So I've gone ahead and listed out the curriculum for this, but that's basically, you know, what structured snippets are. And then call outs right here. Again, I'm already using account level callouts, easy enrollment, strong alumni network, guaranteed externship, BBB accredited, exceptional results. So again, this is just extra, just small bites of information that they can put into the ad and make it look a lot bigger. But if you're adding new ones, you just click on callouts right here, and then you click on new callout. They're all very short right here, so they're not, you know, super lengthy in terms of what you say. But again, it's just like extra benefit information that you can stuff in there. So definitely do all those. All of these are going to go a long way to make your ad bigger and more prominent in the newsfeed, which is the name of the game. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on done, and then I'm going to click on next. And then here I'm going to choose my budget. Now, obviously, Google, they're like, yes, you should spend a lot of money every single day, but you know, do what you're comfortable with, right? So in this example, let's just go with $50 a day. You know, that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. Now, what you will see, don't worry when you see this warning from Google that's like, hey, you're limited by budget. What they're telling you there is that, hey, if you could spend more and get more clicks, which is true, but again, just stick within your budget. Don't feel forced to spend more than you're comfortable. So then we click next. Oh, I have to confirm it's me. Look at this. All right. Sometimes you will get this. So yes, shoot me a text. All right, sorry. I have to go to my other screen and grab the code. Here we go. Google does have a lot of these security measures, which they can be annoying, but at the same time, you know, it is kind of nice because, you know, they prevent you from, you know, wasting money on stuff that, you know, you didn't put together, and if you get hacked or anything like that. All right, cool. So now we review everything, campaign name, search, the objective is to get leads. You know, here's the different ways we can get it, which again, I'll show you later how to set these up. Maximize conversions, that's the type of bidding that we are doing. We only want to appear in the search network, USA, English. So everything looks good right here. We've got 4 keywords, 1 ad, $50 a day. Everything here looks good. So let's go ahead and publish this campaign. Your campaign will not serve ads. Your campaign cannot run with missing information. What information am I missing? Oh, payment information. Okay, that's fine. I will add. That's obviously beyond the scope of this. Do add your billing information. But right, everything else looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on publish. All right, we're not done yet though. So here we are, we're already inside of our campaign. And if you want to see alongside all of your other campaigns, you go to right here where it says all campaigns, and then campaigns. And let's see, I need to type in, we use the word test in this one. Oh, there's a bunch of test ones. Okay, so let me type in, what was the exact name? So it was beta test, just like that. There we go. There it is. So what you want to do before you kind of let it, right now it's going through the approval process and all that kind of stuff. But we do want to make one slight modification. So click on the campaign name, then name your ad group. For some reason, they leave that out in the campaign creation process, but give it a name, give it a very specific name. So in this case, right, I would say become a dog trainer terms. And then next, we do need to make a change to the bidding settings. So over here, click on settings. And this is where at any point you can make changes and modifications to your campaign settings. But we are going here to bidding because as you recall, we want to change this to a manual bidding strategy at the very beginning. And you're going to figure out what your manual bid is by doing that search term we saw in lesson 1 of like, hey, what is the average CPC in my industry, so on and so forth. So go ahead and click on change bid strategy or select a bid strategy directly like that. Yes. And then we want to change this to manual CPC and then optimize for conversions. That's what we want to do. If you are doing a purchase, you can go ahead and select conversion value. But in this case, we want to do optimize for conversions, just like that. Then I'll go ahead and click on save. Perfect. Now I'm going to go to my ad group because the ad group is where you change your CPC bid. It has it at $1. I know just from historical purposes, I'm going to put this here at $4.02. Now I put it at $4.02. Like why not $4? Because I want to be slightly above everyone else who's bidding $4, right? I just need 1 penny or 2 pennies more to have the higher bid, right? I don't need to go all the way up to $5. If all my competitors are bidding $4 and I'm bidding $4.02, then all of a sudden I have the highest bid, just like that, right? Click save twice. And there we go. So now it is all set up and ready to go. That is how you build a campaign from beginning to end. All right, and there you have it. If you have made it to the end, I want to congratulate you. There was a lot of info and content in there, but you can always come back here and use this as a reference as you're putting together your campaign. So I certainly do hope that you found it useful. If you have any questions about Google Ads, just let me know in the comments below and I am happy to answer them. That's all I've got for you today, and I will see you next time.